Today is October 16th. It's our rescheduled meeting for our Board of Regular Meetings that was dated for October, well, today's date is October 23rd at 3 o'clock.
I call the roll. Mr. Genline. Here. Mr. Crandall.
Here.
Mr. Mahoney.
Here.
Simcoe. Here.
Stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just as a side note, Dave, I've got to leave about 7:15 today for my son's soccer tournament this evening. So if the meeting's still going, I'm just going to excuse myself. So.
Okay. Well, since he's telling me that, since I've got the most resolutions, I'll try to.
Yes. All right. How about approval of minutes? Do we have any questions on that?
I move approval.
Second?
Mr. Genline?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. Any additions or deletions, Jim?
I have one deletion under zoning department 8.2. The authorization for abatement is, we'll delete that from the agenda. That's been taken care of.
Okay, great. Do we have anybody that, or I guess, Adam, Dr. Fineski, you're up already. That'd be great. If you'd be so kind just to introduce yourself and your address and all that good stuff.
Sounds good. All right, good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Adam Fineski, and I am a resident of the township, 6124 Secluded Court, but also superintendent of Sylvania Schools. And I'm glad to be here today to give you guys a little bit of an update of the start of the school year for the school district, a couple quick things on what we're working on, and then transition into a big initiative that we're working on, especially in the next couple weeks here. So up on the screen is a presentation, pretty short, but just kind of giving you kind of the gist of what's happening in Sylvania Schools this year. Our strategic plan is that visual, which is our mission, vision, strategy, core values, and goals. And we related to a couple key words last year. First year superintendent, really doing a big reset in the district around the word why, and going back to getting the whole district and our 850 employees back to our mission and vision, which is truly our why as a school district, and that's preparing students to be lifelong learners and engaged citizens. And this year, as a staff, we transitioned a little bit to focus more on our strategy and how we do things. So kind of moving from the why to the how. And so we're very focused this year on how Sylvania works, which is our theme, and a hashtag that we're using in fun ways to promote some of the things that we're doing around the district. So that plan leads us to three big picture goals for the 18-19 school year. Number one is to increase the academic achievement of all students. Number two, strengthen the safety, security, and mental health support. I'll talk much more about that one in a moment. And number three is to continue to build our future through collaborative leadership and development as our district grows and changes. We are continuing to grow as a school district. Just 3 years ago, we had about 7,600 students. We're at 7,900 now, so up about 300 in the past couple of years. And we are continuing to change, both culturally, socioeconomically, and many different ways in our district. So it's important for us to have that goal of building our future and making sure we're prepared for the growth that's happening very rapidly for us, as well as the changes we're seeing in our schools. So excited about that one, but definitely, growth comes with challenge. I'm glad our numbers are going up. I'd rather them going up than down, but it speaks to, I think, what's happening in the district and the excitement and good things. People want to move here to go to our schools. So with that change and with us working on increasing academic achievement right now, we're strongly focused on goal 2, which is unfortunately something we have to continue to focus on as a school district, and that's safety, security, and mental health. So that's being a big one. We've come a long way with the work that we've done in that area. Back in 2011, shortly after the Sandy Hook tragedy, school shooting, the district was one of the first in the area to form a safety and security committee. That committee has lots of folks on it, not just educators, but local law enforcement, gentlemen from your police department, your fire department are very involved in that committee. It meets monthly, and we're constantly talking about the safety of our community, but also specifically our schools. And some highlights that we've gotten accomplished already include the ALICE training for all employees, students, and parents, Lexan glass replacement in all of our buildings, that stronger, more resistant glass on all of our windows for all of our classrooms, safe rooms, secondary door restraints on every door in every building, and then the past 2 years we've had a very strong focus on mental health awareness with just a lot of the different issues that we've seen coming into our schools more than ever, just definitely having to put a lot more resources and energy around that in our school district. So for me last year as superintendent, first year, but in the district for 19 years, I was pretty proud of the things we accomplished and felt really confident with the work that we've done as a school district to be a safe school district where we felt every day our kids were safe. And we had planned an event with our Saline Schools Parent Organization in February where we were going to have a day and folks from your police department and others were going to come and highlight these things and show parents in more detail. Pretty much to kind of brag about some of the things that we have accomplished. And that day was already planned, but what happened before that was February 14th, which is a day I, as a school leader, and any leader will probably never forget, and that was when phones started buzzing and news started about the shooting in Parkland, Florida. And that day was probably about 3 or 4 days prior to the day we had planned to talk about school safety. And I know that the moment I heard about it, my heart sank. It was Valentine's Day. You're kind of in that day of celebration for many things, but it was there was a lot of grief that day. And I knew I had to respond as a leader, but definitely as a school superintendent to this community, who, of course, like any community, reacted right away. And that couple days later, the ripple effect of that event started hitting districts across the country, and Sylvania was not immune. We had a pretty significant threat at Southview High School that hit the news right away. The day of this event we had planned to talk about safety was the morning after that threat happened at Southview. So that event turned into a challenge. That event, which we thought might have 30 parents or so, turned into 300 parents in the McCord Road Church that let us use their gym that day. And basically, I was challenged, like I've not been challenged ever, to do more with safety and security and to figure out ways to make our schools safer. And again, we felt they were pretty safe, but we needed them to be safer, and it was clear that day, and not only that meeting, but multiple emails, phone calls, personal meetings with parents who stopped to see me. There was fear, desperation. It was an interesting time. So our group got right to work, and a subcommittee of the safety and security team surveyed our committee, community, and administrators to find what we needed the most. And this is the list that what we came up with, and that was that we wanted additional resource officers. We have one at each high school right now, but to have more presence at our junior highs, increased mental health and counseling services, and then overall building security improvement in the area of communication and cameras. And of course, the training would go with that. And unfortunately, a lot of that, all of that, comes with cost. And how could we be able to pay for that without taking from many of the other things that we're doing currently in the district that are making us successful? So there was a lot of communication through April and then in May when the team presented to the school board, and we found out through many conversations with state legislators about a House bill that allowed school districts to do a special levy to accomplish something like this if the community were to support it. So of course that's always a challenge and not something we want to do. It's never fun in any way to raise taxes or to ask for more tax money knowing we have great support from the community already. But this opportunity and some changes to House Bill 24 that happened in March allowed for a levy like this to meet specifically the needs we had, which included people. Before these levies, you could not ask for additional staff. It could only be for hardware, door locks, windows, things that we had already accomplished. When we heard about the change, that's what really moved us forward. And so we are asking for the special levy. It is much smaller than any levy request we've ever put on the ballot. It's a 0.9 mil, and it's a 5-year renewable. All special levies must be renewable in 3 to 5 years. And the cost to a homeowner of an average home in Sylvania, which is about $190,000 to $200,000, is about $5 a month, a little over. So the challenge to me from the board was, if you're going to do this, make sure it's exactly what you need. So it meets your plan. You're not getting more or less. We want to be able to accomplish what the survey and the committee came up with that we want to get done. And this amount and what it will bring in per year will accomplish that goal. So for informational purposes, it is issue 7. It'll be on the November 6th ballot. There's our campaign that's going on right now. It's starting to heat up throughout the community. Safe schools, safe Sylvania is our slogan. We believe safe schools get a safe Sylvania. Almost 8,000 of your residents are in our buildings every day. And if we can do the right things with them and meet their needs in the area of safety in a more proactive manner, we believe that will ultimately affect the community. So with the township, the partnership with you guys would definitely be, if the levy's successful, we want Sylvania Township and city police officers. We've made that decision to do what it takes to make that happen. We do not want to hire in other security forces. We want them to be the officers that our children and our parents and our families see serving the community every day. So that will be a big piece for, hopefully, when the levy's successful, that we'll be working with the township on. So, in saying that, we do have a website, voteforsylvaniaschools.com, and that really goes back to our district goal of strengthening safety, security, and mental health support. And if this goes through, we will see a big change to making our schools an even safer environment for our kids. So, any questions or comments or information? I do have, Dave, there's a sheet there. There's one, it's kind of an outline of what I said. We're using that for informational reasons, kind of beyond our website and promotional materials. Probably a good sheeter to keep with your information that outlines the big asks. So I'll take any questions.
Listed in there for the schools is the safe room.
Yeah.
And I guess out of my ignorance, I've seen different things on movies and things, but what is a safe room?
Yeah, so every school has what's called a safe room, and it's a designated spot in the school building where all communication and cameras and any type of needs that would be there if there were an active shooter in the building or someone in the building that's not supposed to. The administrator and a designated team goes to that safe room, locks the door, has communication right to the police, all the camera viewing, phones, both rotary phones, the extra cell phone, a radio that goes to the police. So every building has what we call a safe room.
Wow, great.
It's kind of a communication hub.
Nice, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Did you, good traction Saturday for you guys?
Fall Festival?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, very, very good. We were able to answer a lot of questions, give out some good information.
Great.
We'll be hitting the streets this weekend and next weekend with door knocks and lid drops and Northview Southview games Friday night, big night. We'll be very present there as well. So just trying to give the right information and the facts so that people have the information and can make a decision either way. So, looking forward to a great school year. Thanks for your partnership and all that you do to support our school district. Love working with you guys, and we'll see some great things ahead for Sylvania Schools. So thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome. Yep, thanks.
Nobody signed in for
Okay.
hearing in public.
How about Carly? You're up.
Good afternoon. You should be seeing a lot of building going around Sylvania. We had, I'm on page 2, am I? We had an uptick to get to about 104 building permits to date, and I know that we've continued to issue new building permits through September and October, so we are looking good there. We're down a little bit from last year in complaints, mowed grass, picked up some yards, things have gone pretty good. Dean's been on it, we feel real comfortable and we're doing better, and that was page 3, sorry. He's asked me to put page numbers on there, and so, and then for the last kind of monthly, page 4, the Board of Zoning Appeals met in September. I know that everyone's heard about Milo the pig. The board deliberated and came to the conclusion that the zoning manager's decision was correct and denied the appeal, and the attorney for the family has filed an appeal with Lucas County Common Pleas Court, so we're moving forward in that direction. There'll be a new kennel over Sit Means Sit over on Centennial Road. It's a dog training facility. And then Yark had a small variance request over on Scarlet Oak. The other meetings for the month were canceled, but we make up for that because I've got 2 zoning meetings in October. I guess I gave half my things away on page 5. The conditional use permit for Sit Means Sit. McDonald's is going to have a fresh facade over there, and they're renovating on Central Avenue. And I just got news that Meijer will be doing the same, and we're working on improving the signage for that. There's a new restaurant that'll be coming to the Beverly Hills Plaza called Melt Bar and Grilled. And I also have now scheduled a project plan review for Panda Express and an update yet to be determined for Applebee's property over on Central Avenue. And that's all I have. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Carly.
Afternoon, John.
Hey, Rob.
Hi, September's monthly report, if you had an opportunity to look at it. As you came in, you probably saw we had some upgrades to the facade out front here. We freshened up the ADA ramps coming in and out of the building and made the front of the building ADA compliant, which we weren't at the time. So when we did that, we decided to go ahead and freshen up the landscaping as well. It's not that appealing looking right now because of the season, but this spring we'll have some flower and some color up front as well. We did our annual fall brush pickup in September, a little over 1,000 cubic yards of brush we picked up. The annual household pickup was a record 144 tons, 144.77 tons, and subsequently, last month, you probably don't remember, but we had to move some money around to pay for that as well. We didn't anticipate it being that much. The road crews went out and did some ditch clearing. We cleared Resource Park. The ditch along there was quite a bit grown over. And Wolfinger Road was a pushback from the park area. Fire hydrants were obscured 10 feet into the wood line. There was a lot of debris in the ditch as well, and that helped us prepare for our 2019 resurfacing of that road. That'll happen. We finished up some of our annual stuff like street sweeping and roadside mowing and stuff like that, preparing for our leaf season. And basically that's where we're at right now. We're out doing leaf pickup. Our major projects, if you go to page 2, I didn't have an opportunity for this month, but I'll give you an update. The OPWC project, which is Quarry Woods and Farmington area, they're in the final stages doing some punch list stuff. Residents tomorrow will see a little activity, and then that should be it for over there. And then the second project is pretty much complete. They're just doing some cleanup. Both projects were by Gherkin. They were fairly late on the second project, the 1.49 miles. That may entail some funding back to us as $400 a day for every day after the completion date. So we'll see where the county assesses that. As you see, the other projects are complete down on number 5, some of the drainage stuff. DeVilbiss Court, Golf Creek, obviously complete. Cunningham Ditch project, there's some residents over there waiting, what's going to happen. So we're just waiting in the Lucas County Engineer's Office to provide us the detailed plan. And then under G, the Ottawa River log jam off of Cambrian, that was completed. There was significant amount of material pulled out of there. And I went down there this afternoon to look, and it looks really nice. Under the parking lot, number 7, the title sheets in the boardroom, if you would have an opportunity before you leave to look at it and sign it, I have a reso and I'm following this on that. That's the monthly report, unless you have any questions. We got Reso 18-125, authorization to advertise for bid for the 2018 parking lot improvement project. This project we'll bid this year, and we will encumber the money, and it will be performed next year, next spring.
I move resolution 18-125, authorized to advertise for bids for the parking lot improvement project.
Second. Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney? Yes.
Thank you, and that's all I have.
Thanks, Rob.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Mike.
How's everybody doing today? Good? You have before you the September 2018 monthly report. First page, I kind of want to point out the picture that was there was Mr. Latta came in town to, I had spoke last month about how we were able to get a couple of FEMA grants, one to replace some of our SCBA's, our self-contained breathing apparatus, and also Jim Wolf, the second one in from the left, has been writing for the last couple of years a regional radio grant, which the portables we carry are about $8,000 a piece. We were able to garner $712,000 from FEMA through the regional grant, and this was Mr. Latta coming to tell us that we were awarded it. Mr. Jones was there, and thank you to Mr. Genoway. That was a good morning, and you know, because that's a 10% match. So for every $8,000 radio, we only owe $800 for them. So kudos to Mr. Wolf and the guys from all the other departments that assisted us in writing that grant. So page 2, we had a few guys with 19 years anniversaries, so I love to see that we've got 19 years in there, but that means in about 6 years we've got guys that are going to start retiring. So that is part of the transition of young guys to older guys. So page 3 was fire EMS responses. Page 4 was the 2017. Actually, we were down about 11 runs from last year. However, the overlapping from last year to this year, the same month, was down a little bit, which means when we had one call, the next call came in, we were down just about 6%, or 6/10. So page 5 is actually the complete incidents. That's where you're going to see in 17 we had 662, and in 18 we had 651. So we were down about 11 incidents that month. Incident types haven't changed much. That would be page number 6. We're still seeing the percentages up over 80% for our EMS calls, or 80% of our calls are EMS calls. Patient count per patient disposition for 18 and 17, you'll see we still had a few transports by private vehicle, but this week we were able to finally get the new medic unit in from Horton with everything completed on it. We were able to put it in service, so we should not see double-digit figures for private auto transports. That would be on page 7 and 8. Page 9, our mutual and automatic aid was down a little bit, so that meant we didn't have Springfield or Ridgefield coming in, and we didn't go there, so I believe our numbers were down, and so were they a little bit for the month. Community risk reduction, we had fire and tornado drills in the schools. We had I Love Olander Day. We also did some smoke alarm installs, and Becky and Jennifer did 4 car seat installs last month. I think this week they've already done 5 or 6 just this week, which it's interesting to see those numbers going up. People actually setting up dates to come in and have the girls properly install them. So picture on the bottom is actually the I Love Olander Day. I don't think we anticipated the numbers that the guys seen that day, because they said there was a lot of people there that day. It turned out to be a beautiful day, so I think that's what really brought the people out. So, Fire Training Bureau, we did meet with Lucas County, the Water Division down here at Sylvania and Holland, Sylvania at the pumping station. They have a huge chlorine room, and we were aware of it, but we had not done any training with them previously. So we spent a whole week down there with their hazmat people and our guys going through what's actually in there, what we can do if we do have a spill and that type of stuff. So I actually attended 2 of the days, and I was very impressed how the interaction with them and our guys went through. The fire marshal wrote out the 2017 Ohio Fire Code. We were also very fortunate enough through the Bureau of Workers' Compensation to get awarded a $48,000 grant for our power lift and our power cot for our new transport. We had to have some training done on that to fulfill the requirements of the grant, so everyone got trained on that. And we also did some awesome training at Lake Park. We have to really thank ProMedica. They allowed the city police, the township police, and us to do some rescue task force training that I'm sure Chief Reddick will tell you that it was fantastic, good stuff. Just seeing the police and the fire departments work in conjunction like that was awesome. So, and then we also did the CERT training that we do with the high schools every year. That got accomplished. We did have, remember we brought Nick Crawford on as a full-time guy, but the previous month we had him getting his life squad time and all of his training done, so that when we did promote him from part-time to full-time, he was ready to go, so we didn't have to spend any more time once he became full-time to give him enough on his hours. And then page 13 is the overtime, and I'm not real happy with it. However, I did have a huge month of, almost a month and a half now, of family medical leave. We had almost 7 people off for most of the whole month, so I don't like seeing numbers like that. So we did send out 10 people's names for background checks so that we can fill those open part-time spots, so hopefully that'll help us with bringing that back down to where it should be, and it has been all year, just a crazy month. I'm sorry that happened, but unfortunately I don't think I had much control over people having babies and that kind of stuff, so. That's all. Well, yeah, let's hope, I'm okay on that one. I don't think I have any problems with that, so. And hopefully next trustees meeting I'll have the new transport unit here for you, so you guys, with it changing from last week to this week, I didn't get it planned for you, so we'll try to do it before next meeting. Okay?
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, Jim.
How are you?
Good.
Good. How's everyone doing?
All right.
Good. What you got before you is the September report for the police department. I know you guys have looked over it and saw it, so I'll be real brief with it. First page shows how many calls the dispatch center took for the month. The second page is our calls for service. If you look at it, pretty much we're pretty equal with where we were up to year-to-date in 2017. The exceptions are citations were up about 25%. This is page 3. We've written about 25% more citations for the year, and our robberies are down about 75% for the year. Prisoner transport costs, next page is very negligible. Next page you have the detective statistics. And then on page 6 is the crime report that the citizens asked to be included, selective crime reports, that's included there. And then you've got the community affairs, with them putting out the speed trailers and the message boards. And then finally, on page 10 is our overtime, which again is very negligible. And other than that, if you answer any questions you have. If not, I have a resolution. The resolution 18-124, which will authorize and establish a eligibility list for hiring of new police officers.
I'll offer resolution 18-124, certifying the eligibility hiring list.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Under Administrator, I'm asking the trustees to open a public hearing for a street lighting petition for Waterside, Sylvania, Plat 5 and 6, if anybody wants to address it.
At this time, we'll open a public hearing up at 329 for Waterside Plat 5 and 6. Anybody here to speak on or for or against the project? With that, we will close the public hearing at 329 and offer resolution 18.121, approve street lighting for Waterside, Sylvania, Plat 5 and 6.
Are you offering?
Resolution, yeah.
I'll second it.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Simcoe, I turn it over to you.
Yes, you see our month-end report, and one of the comment is we're starting to get a little bit more into the year, you know, in the first few months, you don't know.
I don't see it yet.
No, not there yet. Well, I can tell you that, we're in the black. And, we always focus on the expenses, but you can see, and if we were looking at it, it'd be 75% really is where we would not want to be over 75% in any of our categories, and you can see there that, we're doing nicely, I think, on our expenditures. You know, really, when you look at them, we're nicely below 75%. And look at our revenue, actually, most of our money's in, as you saw from the report. We get a little bit more trickling in, but I think we'll be really at 100% even in the general fund, maybe a little bit more in all of them. So I think revenues are good, but most importantly, our expenses are staying under control. And so that's, to me, that's a real good thing. I've got a whole raft of resolutions here. The first resolution 18 dash.
What causes the general fund to be down at 94% and the others up? Is it just?
Yeah, I think it's got, like, it does have a few more things coming in. You see there, John, 2 quarterly payments for, that's in the fire fund, but the cable franchise fee should still come in. We have a few things. The EMS contracts will drive up the fire just a little bit more. And that we're at 100.8%, and then we should get close to 100 with the cable franchise fees coming in. But they come in kind of late.
Just curious.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Although, you know, when you think about this, a year ago, we were at 82%. Yeah, you know, and that was a little more nervous, because our general fund is always a tough situation, because the general fund has different components. We know more what's coming in the police and fire funds because of the levies, and the general fund is always a little bit harder to predict, really. Well, the first resolution is 18-126, and it's accepting amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. We do this every year. They send us what they propose we're going to be receiving. We look it over, and that, I know John has, Emron has, and Vicki has, to make sure that we agree with what they're saying. And so, but we do need to send this down to them, that we approve of these amounts. So we need a resolution. This is a key resolution.
I'll offer resolution 18-126, accepting amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission.
Second.
I'll call the roll. Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And the next is Resolution 18-127, and it's a request for advancement of taxes for 2019 fiscal year. And, you know, if you don't request the advance, I mean, they'll just hold the money out. And of course, we need it to pay our bills, and so this is a critical resolution too. We have.
I'll offer Resolution 18-127, request advancement of taxes for 2019 fiscal year.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Resolution 18-128 is to establish Fund 290 for tax incentive financing as required by the Ohio Revised Code.
I'll offer Resolution 18-128 to establish fund for 290 for taxes, I'll call it, or I gotta say it, I was gonna say TIF, tax incentive financing is required by Ohio Revised Code.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And Resolution 18-129 to approve appropriation for expense line items in the Tax Incremental Financing Fund.
I move Resolution 18-129 to establish revenue and expense accounts for our current TIF and 2019 budget.
Second.
Who does that payment go to, the TIF payout?
That is monies that we collect, and it goes to a construction company. Who is that? Who is it?
It's one for Kroger's.
That's for the program.
The Kroger thing.
So I got done with that.
I think it's
Last year. We have a motion and a second on that. You can call for Mr. Genowine.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
And Resolution 18-130 to establish revenue and expense accounts for current year and 2019 budget.
I'll offer Resolution 18-130 to establish revenue and expense accounts for current 2019 budget.
Second.
Mr. Genowine.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
I think lastly, Resolution 18-131, township appropriation from unencumbered balance.
I move Resolution 18-131, township appropriation from the unencumbered balance.
Second.
Mr. Genowine.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
That's all I have, and thank you.
Thank you. Any open discussion amongst the board? Hearing of the public for non-agenda items?
Number 7.
Okay. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 3:36.
Second.
Call the roll, Mr. Genowine.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, guys.
5 minutes to spare for Mr.
All right.
9 minutes ahead of schedule.
All Wildcats.